So square roots, they ask what number squared equals the radicand. So this is looking for a number times itself that's 125. First thing you think about is 125 a perfect square? It's not. If it was, then it would be really easy. Like this one, for example, that is a perfect square. What times itself is 4x squared? 2x. Because x times x is x squared. Now wait, how would I know if that's right? How could I check that? You square it. If this is right and I square it, what should it equal? It should equal the radicand, correct. And it does. 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and those are the same. The radicand, not the entire number, but the radicand is 4x squared, so that's how I know I'm right. So you take your answer and you square it. And if you get the radicand back, you're right. So this one's not a perfect square. So the way you do that is you factor 125 and you look for the biggest perfect square. I think 25 times 5 is 5. Are 5 quarters $1.25? Yeah. Okay, so that is really the same as 25 times 5, right? And this is the way that writing it like this makes the most sense, because all you got to do then is rewrite the one that's a perfect square. That's 5 times the square root of 5. D-O-N-E, finished. Dylan, yeah. What are you doing, Dylan? Okay, Dylan, that's perfect. You should be paying attention, not doing nothing. Okay, Dylan, if I wanted to check this, and for you guys, we didn't get to this yesterday, so this is important. If I wanted to check this, I'd have to multiply it by itself, and it should equal 125. So let's see how that works. Okay, 5 square root 5 squared. Okay, so we're going to check it, and we're going to see if this really equals 125. If this does, then we're right. Okay, but we don't know yet. 1 second. So here's what we're going to do. This really means, like that's the base right there. The whole thing is the base. It all has an exponent of 2. So it's 5 root 5 times 5 root 5. Are we doing good so far? Mikey, we're doing okay? Okay, Mikey. Now, this is a rational number, and that's a rational number. I'm going to put those together. Normally, I wouldn't write it like that. I just go ahead and write 25. And these are irrational. Yeah? So writing out like every single step, no shortcuts. This is 25, yes? And this is the square root of 25. I'm not very good at square roots, but I think the square root of 25 is 5. I think this equals 5. So I think that whole thing is 25 times 5, and that does equal 125. That's how I know I'm right. Questions? No? Okay. Okay, Anna. Oh, Anna. The hurricane. Did you hear about it? Like Hurricane Irma? You know how people would stockpile lots of food and groceries and then they would leave, right? So there's this guy, I guess he was a single dad. I guess he was also an alcoholic. I don't know, like about the second part. But he had his kids in the car. They just like ran to the car and he just put the kids in the back seat, like a baby and everything. No car seat, no baby seat, nothing. So all the kids in the back seat, and he stopped at a store and he went and got like a bunch of supplies, water, food, and he bought like a whole bunch of beer. So he took the beer, he threw it in the car and it landed on the baby. But the baby was okay because it's light beer. No, that whole thing's just a joke. Oh, didn't. Be here all week. All right, Jesse, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jesse. I had you believe in it for a minute, though. Yeah. Okay, now okay, boys and girls, this one, that's 9 times 3, so the answer is just 3 root 3. Okay? Because that's the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. This one, square root of 81 times the square root of 2. So that is 9 root 2. Good so far? 25 times 3. Do you see? And this one is 9 times 5. So it's 3 root 5. Questions so far? Mikey, we're doing good on all those? Okay. Now, let's see. We're going to do these three right here because they're pretty easy. This is 49 times 2. Hi, Miss Kennedy. We're doing some fancy math here today.
Hey, I'm not worthy. I was just in a meeting where they were just singing the praises of Mr. Brown.
Oh, that's just nonsense.
I felt like, hey, I know him.
You can buffalo anybody sometimes. Like, I just had these guys convinced of a totally silly story.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
You feel silly now that you believed him? Is it untrue? Did he like let you in at the end?
Yeah, I let him in at the end. It was about, I'll tell you, okay? So during the hurricane, right? Hurricane Irma, there was this dad, he was a single dad, and I guess he was an alcoholic. I don't really know that part for sure. But he took all his kids and threw them in the car, no car seats, a baby in the back seat, everything. And he went to the store because they were going to leave town. So he went to the store and he bought like a whole bunch of stuff, food, water, right? And he bought a bunch of beer. He threw all the stuff in the car and all the beer landed on the baby. But the baby was okay because it was light beer. Oh yeah, har har, har har har, har har. Oh, I got all kinds of them. Okay, I'm like butter. I'm on a roll. Okay, Azalea, this one right here we did yesterday in class, right? This one is tricky. Pay attention now. Come on, I know it's very entertaining. This one's tricky. This is 16 times 3. So it's the square root of 16 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 48. So that's 4 root 3. Yeah? Brandon. This one right here gets me because you'll see stuff like this on tests and people mess it up all the time. I don't know why. It's easy. That's 100 times 3. Right. And the square root of 100 is, of course, 10. So this is 10 root 3. Yeah, that's good. It is easy. I don't know why people miss it on the test, but they do. Yeah, I think that's why. Or, like the people that miss it, they're still trying to factor doing prime factorization. So they're going to do 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 3. And then they miss it. Don't do that. Prime factorization, you can get the right answer. Right? You can get the right answer, but it has nothing to do with square roots. Square roots are looking for squares. That's why you want that. Okay. This one. Oh. I like the 4 is easy, right? The square root of 4 is 2, but what's the square root of x to the 4th? So you're telling me that x squared times x squared is equal to x to the 4th? I agree. Okay. This one. What times itself is 4 over 25? Is that 2/5? Yes. Oh, that 5 grew a tail. Okay. 9? Is number 13 equal to 9? Mikey, why is that equal to 9? Number 13. Because what's the square root of 9? And what's this 3 doing to the square root of 9? It's multiplying. That's why it's equal to 9. Abraham, sometimes what I do is I'll give like a homework like this with 15 problems, and the answer for number 1 will be 1, and the answer for number 2 will be 2, all the way through until this will be 14, and this answer will be 15. And it's really funny when I do that on a quiz because it really makes people question themselves. And then it's really funny when we go over it because I'll say, hey, Mikey, what did you get for number 14? And you'll say 14, and I'll say, yes, that's the one. What did you get? No, just random. Hey, these two are totally different. If you can read them, you'll see they're totally different because this is 2 times 2 times the square root of 2. Because the square root of 8 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, yeah? So that's 2 root 2. So this whole thing right here is equal to 4 times the square root of 2. Made no sense, Abraham?
Yes, sir.
So let's take a look at it. You ready? Yeah. Okay, so we got the square root of 4 times the square root of 8. Yes? Are you comfortable with this being just equal to 2? Okay. Now the square root of 8. Are you sure are you okay with this?
Yeah.
And this is equal to 2, right? So the square root of 8 equals that. Yeah? Okay. The square root of 8 equals this. Right? You see now?
So would it be square root of 4 times the square root of 2? Nice.
4 coins, square root of 5.
Yuppers.
Yuppers. Okay, Parth. Oh, so this one was... oh, that's that one. This one, though. Whoa. It's 4. Well, so you don't say 2 to the because it's times. When you say to the, what that really means is an exponent. Yeah, so you would just say 8 times the square root of 2. And you're right, because what you were saying is right, though. 8, the square root of 8 is 2 times the square root of 2. So if we had 4 times that, it would just be 4 times that. And that's 8. Yes, Miss Beamer? Miss Beamer, when you dye your hair blue, does the sink get really nasty and blue? Yeah, do you get in trouble? Do you have to clean it, though? Yeah. Okay. Last one. 2 times the square root of 1/4 equals Juan. I think so. I think so. Should we take a look at it? Okay, we'll do that. 2 times the square root of 1/4. Well, the square root of 1/4, just looking at the 1/4 part, the square root of 1 is 1, right? So I could actually do this if I wanted, right? Like if I was confused. And the square root of 4, isn't that 2?
Yeah.
So this whole thing is really 2 times that equals.
Oh, shoot, I should have simplified.
Yeah, I should.
Whoa. Is that a hand?
It's going to be flower. That's a flower?
It's a flower.
Oh, that's a flower. That pedal doesn't have the one.
I saw that too.
Double toast bar.
It
looks like you borrowed
That's hurting my eyes.
That little pedal is for you.
No, no,
Oh.
no, just.
This flower didn't do its homework.
One thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry, never mind.
Just put one.